Ni hao, and welcome to yet another deck profile. This is definitely not meant to be a competitive deck, but I've ended up actually doing quite well against other people with it. I came second in the last Trinity Online Locals with this, which is quite a feat considering I just threw it together quite quickly. Afterwards I sort of sharpened it up and made it a bit better, so let's get into it. The idea of the deck is to play as many Call of the Haunted effects as possible. Namely Call of the Haunted, Oasis of Dragon Souls, Back to the Front, and 3 Super Team Battle Force Unite. I just really like Call of the Haunted effect, so I was trying to maximise on this for no real reason, I just like the card. Something else I wanted to combo with this was Card of Safe Return. This is unlimited in Trinity because you can't really spam stuff, but in one of the tournament games I did manage to summon Artifact Scythe with Artifact Mewmore like 5 or 6 turns in a row, just with like these recursion effects. So I draw a lot of cards with Card of Safe Return. Most of the time this breaks. I think in a very optimal list you probably would not play this. Anyway, it's kind of like a controlling deck. We're playing all these Call the Haunted effects, so you want something to bring back. The best one is definitely Artimac Moraltach. Moraltach is just insanely good. Every time you bring it back with the Call the Haunted, you not only get a 2100 monster, you also get to destroy any face-up card they control that does not target. So it's just really good. Non-targeting destruction is always quite good. Artifact Scythe prevents them from going into the extra deck. If you have a lock on this card where you can just keep summoning it every turn, like somehow send it to the graveyard, summon it back, you can just stop them from doing anything. What's important to know with the artifacts is they happen on a new chain after you summon them with a Call of the Haunted. And that means that you can't chain Call of the Haunted to, say, for example, they activate Shadow Fusion. You cannot use Call the Haunted in response Summon Scythe to negate the Shadow Fusion. You have to do this like in a standby phase or something. Other artifacts we're playing Begultach, because if we draw into these, we have to kind of rely on our opponent to destroy them, and that's a bit bad. Begultach means that we can summon this from the deck with one of our 3 Sanctum, the 2 extra Trinities. Begultach just sort of like unbricks some hands. It's quite good. Draws you more cards with Card Save Return as well. Mjolnir is when it's summoned from the grave, we get to summon another artifact from the grave. But we can't summon monsters until the end of the next turn apart from artifact monsters, which is kind of annoying because it means we can only really go into Artifact Durendal from the extra deck. I'd love to go into Pleiades or something, which we can do outside of that, but mostly this is also here for Card Safe Return. All of these can be summoned with our 3 Artifact Sanctum, so it reduces the brick, and even if we do draw into them, there's some other desperate measures we're playing to get around them. I'm playing both Heavy Stormduster and Twin Twisters. These can target our own artifacts, which doesn't really neg us too much, especially if the opponent's only set 1 back row. And we can also pitch them with Herald of Purple, Orange, or Green Light. Heralds are a weird addition to this deck. They're the worst, best hand traps in the game. There's not much that stops blanket any spell, trap, or effect monster. But these do at the cost of a -1, except when you're discarding a card that you want in the graveyard anyway. It's not quite as harsh a -1. We're also backed up with Either. This is quite a new card. If it's sent to the graveyard, we can banish up to 2 light fairies from our grave, or from our field I think, to add essentially 2 light fairies from our deck to the hand. So we send this to the grave, we banish 2 from grave, and we add 2 heralds to our hand. And that gives us a negate for either a monster or a spell, for example. Onto the hand trap suite, there's another theme in this deck, which is it's a control deck, but it doesn't lose to any back row destruction whatsoever. We're playing not only these 3 hand traps, we're also playing Ghost Ogre as well as Ash Blossom. Before I was also playing Effect Veiler, you can see it on the side, I had to take it out for space reasons. And also all of our back row can be chained. Every single thing apart from Solemn and Torrential. Which means that they don't really want to pop a back row, and even if they do, it might be an artifact. It might be a Buddy Force, and it might be a Sanctum, which will pop one of their cards. This is a control deck in which I should probably be playing Mirror Force, because they never want to hit our back row. Like, it's probably correct to side out your Heavy Stormdusters against this deck, because everything that you destroy I'm just going to chain and make you go neg. It's quite a unique style of control. For draw power, we've got the Card of Safe Return, we've got an Upstart, you can mix these around if you like. Duality's great. Ledger of Legerdemain has recently gone to Unlimited. I've been testing it a little bit after the Trinity Online Locals, and it's doing alright. It's very slow, but as I'll get onto in a second, this deck is amazing at just not doing anything and preventing the opponent from doing anything. It's just the stall city, which means that Ledger really can be a plus, what is it, a +2 or whatever. Pot of Desires, I think we'll probably take this out. I might take this out now and put in like a Veiler or something. Desires just banishes too many of our engine components. I really don't like it. We're playing Marsh Macaron, which needs other copies of itself. It can banish our Moral Attack from the deck, it can banish our Buddy Force. I really don't like Pot of Desires here. Phantom Skyblaster is we just needed more normal summons, because everything I've talked about so far is either a hand trap or something that special summons itself with some other way. Skyblaster's turned out to be insanely good. This is the next go-for, I'm sure. It's very likely that we'll control a monster at the start of our turn, because everything's summoned in our opponent's turn. So then Skyblaster will summon 2 more tokens. We can then use, like for example, 2 tokens to make Wee Witch. If Wee Witch dies, we can just add back our Skyblaster. And then, because we've only used 2 summons that turn, we summoned Skyblaster, gotten 2 tokens, making the Wee Witch. We can then go into Borrello Dragon, which I've done a lot. And since we're playing so many goddamn revival traps, it's actually really easy to summon back Borrello, which is kind of just disgusting. For links, I'll also get into these now. Topologic Trisbana, haven't really used it much, but we're playing a lot of revival, so it's quite easy to sort of trigger the effect. Nightmare's Unicorn and Phoenix, didn't really have room for Cerberus. How do you pronounce this? Hoshingen? I don't even know what that means. I've never actually gone into this. You could probably take this out for Kerberos or for like Gaia Saber. We're also playing a bunch of weird fusions here. Thousand Eyes Restrict, someone named this deck Thousand Eyes Restrict Turbo, which it easily could be. Metamorphosis onto Marsh Macaron, or any of our level 1s can make it. Metamorphosis also can tribute the odd level 4 to make a rank 4 like Exciton. I've never really done that. And it can also tribute any artifact to make Invoked Raijin, which is quite good. Going back onto Thousand Eyes Restrict, we normally summon it with Instant Fusion, and then because we're playing all these revival things, we can just summon back Restrict, and there are a lot of games where like they've got like some monster that can't be destroyed by card effects, so I can't kill it with Moral Attack. I just end up summoning Restrict, stealing their monster, they kill the Restrict, and I'll just call the Haunted it back like twice more in that game. It's very easy just to spam this card. I've already explained Norden, and Raijin is just another good like Metamorphosis target. You can summon all these with Instant Fusion as well, so they're not really a detriment to the extra deck. On the side I've got Fiend Skull Dragon. Probably shouldn't be there. Negates the effects of all flip effect monsters. I sided this in against flip for one game. It didn't really do much, but in theory it's quite good. You can also just Instant Fusion this, then attack with your other stuff to sort of like lock down their flips for a turn. Might be a thing. Pleiades we can make with 2 artifacts, Durendal I've already explained, and Excitonite is mostly for Metamorphosis into Norden. Make sure to set your monster before using Metamorphosis, because then it won't count towards the summon limit. We've also got a bunch of tuners. We've got Ghost Ogre, Ash Blossom, we've now got Veiler, and Herald of Orange Light. In various ways with a mixture of instant fusions and just summoning them, we can make... we can't make Leo anymore. This was actually there because I was playing Dark Lord Superbia here. And the combo there was you summon Superbia from the grave, which summons back Herald of Orange Light. And then that's a instant Leo. I took out Superbia because it's just breaking too much. We'll probably put in like Slacker for the Macarons, I don't know. This deck's very much not finished, but it's a really cool idea, which is just why I wanted to share it with you today. We've also got Scrap Dragon for an artifact and one of our level 3 tuners. It's quite good. And Black Rose for if we instant fusion Nodin into one of our tuners, which is also very good. Scapegoat is also good at making links. Ryo's just a good card. Going over like the last few reigns of this deck, Foolish Burial can send Eva, which searches a bunch of stuff, or it can set up Moral Attack. Aria the Melodious Diva and Marsh Macaron are the last thing. Now I mentioned the stalling element, and this is how we stall. Marsh Macaron is really good. Like, you normal set it, they'll kill it, and we get 2 more. They probably can't kill the other 2 the next turn, which can set us up for a Phantom Skyblaster into Borrello Dragon on our turn. We can maybe make a Link 1 Slack Magician, Link 2, like any Link 2 you want. It is very good, or you can just sit on them, and then every turn they have to attack with 3 monsters, or like kill 2 of them and make a Castel for the last one. It's just really annoying for them. It's also stuff that we can add with Eva, so our Eva's never dead. And Array the Melodious Diva is just very hard to kill, and we've got a lot of ways to summon it. It's also a fairy for a buddy force. Anyway, that's the deck. It looks like a bit of a mess, but in reality it's actually done very well. If you've got any ways you think you could make this better, or if you'd got a deck list you'd like me to cover, please do comment down below. Otherwise, until next time, stay groovy!